Hello folks, it's me, the game OverThinker. What am I doing out here in this beautiful glen when I should be at home playing through Contra 3 for the 53rd time? Well, I'm out here because exercise and fresh air are always a good idea. And also because of that. Yeah, Commissioner Bunnyface wants me to take care of that thing. And if you're wondering where Ivan is, well, he's at home taking care of very important intern duties.
Fuck this.
But don't worry, I've brought along some celebrity backup. You probably don't remember him from a series of 1990s platformers, all the way from England, James Pond!
What precisely am I doing here?
Well, you're here to help me kill that thing.
This is absurd. He's not one of my enemies, nor of Her Majesty's. He's not even oceanic or water-based. There's no reason whatsoever for me to be called in here, boy.
No, don't be ridiculous.
I am not being ridiculous. I am as useless in your struggle against this behemoth as my iPhone game was to pretty much everyone.
You're very useful, James.
Do you really mean that, lad?
Well, alright then. Come along, Pond.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Oh,
You brought me all the way just for that.
For what?
For that stupid joke right there. Yes, you did. You brought me here to make that stupid reference.
No.
Ooh, look at me. I'm making a Doctor Who reference.
James?
I get BBC America. Aren't I sophisticated? Ooh!
James?
Doctor Who reference on a web series. How novel. Way to break the mold, boy.
Are you finished?
Yeah, alright, carry on.
Alright then. Another job well done. You know, we make a good team, James.
I did essentially nothing. I'm going home.
Bye!
Piss off. Wanker.
Ivan, you better run one of the backup shows. It looks like I'm gonna be here for a while.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Reach the icon. Reach the icon.
Stagnant. Adjective. A body of water or the atmosphere of a confined space having no movement or flow and having an unpleasant smell as a consequence. Used as a verb, to cease developing. To become inactive. Dull. Let's have a talk about Mario.
There's just no getting around it. Almost 3 decades on, Mario remains the alpha and omega of video games. Even if you've never played a Mario game, even if you've never liked a Mario game, even if you actively despise all Mario games and everything they've ever stood for, not a single figure looms larger over the medium. In fact, I have a hard time thinking of any medium where a single figure is so overwhelmingly dominant. I mean, okay, Superman maybe comes close in terms of how he's pretty much the iconic symbol for all comic book superheroes, but at least everyone can think of a bunch of characters who are just as, if not more, broadly recognized. I mean, Batman is probably just as, if not more popular right now. Spider-Man and Wolverine probably right up there too. And hell, for a very brief period in the 90s, there was even this person. Music? Hell, music doesn't even have a universally accepted standard bearer within a genre. Is Elvis really the king of rock and roll, or do the Beatles get to split that title? Is Ozzy the icon of metal? Beethoven, Bach, or Mozart? Tupac or Biggie? Is there a single icon of, say, Hollywood even? Marilyn Monroe, John Wayne, Charlie Chaplin, King Kong, Christopher Lambert? When it comes to cartoons, Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny are pretty much evenly matched. Hell, even Jesus Christ has to share top billing with his mom in certain sects of the religion named after him. The point is, there's just no comparison. Mario as an icon is the ambassador from video games to the rest of the popular culture. Even if certain parts of the popular culture know, see, or make reference to a different icon more regularly, this is the one they know by name.
Now, I'm not even gonna bullshit you. I love Mario. I'm a Mario fan. I mean, this is not just OverThinker home base, this is my actual apartment. This is my actual couch. Well, okay, the couch came with the apartment, but it's mine right now, okay?
The point is, most of this is not some kind of set dressing. These are the tops of my actual media shelves. This is my actual pretentious, always set up and ready chess table. This is my actual TV stand, and this is the window directly behind my TV stand. And yes, Mario is holding my folding knife because my 3DS is on its charger right now, and for some reason that statue looks really creepy to me without anything in its hands.
Think about the logic in that statement for a minute.
Oh, and since I'm sure someone's going to point it out, why yes, there are a lot more Wii games up here than 360 games. No, that doesn't mean I don't actually use my 360. The fact is, up until recently, I didn't have a shitload of money, and one of the ways I saved was by trading in games that I either wasn't going to play again or weren't part of a series or franchise I collected. I mean, I get a Call of Duty game, I beat it, I sell it back because the replay is non-existent without multiplayer, and I don't really enjoy the multiplayer. Also, my copies of Mortal Kombat, BioShock, The First Arkham, and a few others are currently visiting the homes of various friends and family members. Besides, either way, the NES, SNES, N64, Game Boy, and Dreamcast collections dwarf both of them, and the PS2 and the GameCube are living with my brother.
What I'm getting at is, yes, I am a huge Mario fan, and I have been ever since I first saw Super Mario Bros. On my best friend's NES in grade school, and knew I had to get one for my very own. I admit that, and I admit that that's kind of lame. I mean, having Mario for your favorite video game character is like having Mickey Mouse as your favorite cartoon, or pizza as your favorite food. Although pizza might actually be my favorite food. Anyway, the most popular thing in a given medium is always the lamest thing to be a big fan of. But the thing is, the point where I became a really big Mario fan was the point where it wasn't quite as big, or didn't seem to be as big as it is now. I'm not trying to play the hipster I was into Mario before it was cool card, but, well, let me explain.
See, in the 80s, I was born in 1981, just for reference's sake, Mario was everywhere in terms of video games because Nintendo was everywhere in terms of video games. But video games themselves weren't really everywhere yet. Yeah, you got some cartoons and short-lived comics and a handful of toys, but Mario wasn't like Transformers or Barbie, where it's this massive cultural thing. And then in the 90s, gaming did get more visible, but it was stuff like Doom and Mortal Kombat and Sonic that were getting most of the big special attention. Even though the Mario titles were still popular and big sellers, they didn't seem to have as much immediate pop culture presence, and realizing how much I still liked it versus the rest of the world's seeming indifference is probably what made me as devoted a fan as I am. But today, or rather within the last decade, it's swung back around completely. Mario is fucking everywhere, and it actually seems largely separate from Nintendo also having reclaimed their stature as the biggest name in gaming.
Nope, don't even start. The Wii was not the best console this generation. I agree, and so does the OverThinker. However, it was the biggest, it had the best-selling game, it had far and away the most media coverage. It, and by extension its maker, are the biggest names in the medium now. That's how it works. Yes, even if you never play yours, or never bothered, or if you're certain that people only ever bought it for Wii Sports and don't use it anymore, or whatever else you were about to mouth off about.
Well, suddenly now there's all this Mario stuff, and even the games are coming out more frequently. Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 both only came out a few months ago, and by the time you watch this video, New Super Mario Bros. 2 will probably be out on 3DS with New Super Mario Bros. Wii U on the way for the holidays. If you're as big a Mario fan as I am, it's practically a year-round Christmas. And even more importantly, the continued popularity and new generation discovery of the franchise is keeping the look and feel of Golden Age gaming alive in an era where it's been largely abandoned outside of the burgeoning indie gaming community.
And yet, is it really still the same? No, not really. Let me confess something to you. I didn't love New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. I liked it, I just didn't love it. It's a good game, and I appreciate how much it played apart from the newfangled 2.5D graphics, like a lost missing link between Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World, but, well, that was kind of the problem.
New Super Mario Bros. Felt like something that should have come out more or less right after Mario 3. A few new power-ups, some new enemies and terrain, but otherwise not a massive change. And that'd be fine, except this wasn't right after Mario 3. It was 17 years after Mario 3. Part of the reason Mario games have traditionally always been event releases is that you could pretty reliably count on each new release kicking the platform genre up to the next level. So when New Super Mario Bros. Was first announced, I was hoping it'd be, alright, Jordan's back in the NBA, we're all about to get school again, next evolution of the 2D platformer. And it really wasn't that. Again, I appreciate a retro nostalgia throwback as much as anyone. I was maybe just hoping for more than that. Now, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, on the other hand, was, I believe, more of a Next Evolution game. Still retro, still not as good as, say, Yoshi's Island, but it is one of the best co-op platformers period, and finds a nice balance between being a classic single-player Mario romp and a fun game to play as a team. And now that my expectations are suitably adjusted, I imagine I'll enjoy New Super Mario Bros. 2 just fine. But is fine really enough, or even where I really want Mario to be? My fellow game commentator Jim Sterling recently did an episode of his Jimquisition show. Full disclosure, yes, I also have a show that runs on the same website as Jim's, where he basically lays out his opinion that the Mario franchise is becoming a little stale. Not necessarily bad, mind you, but that the series has basically ceded its place as a vanguard and or driving force, and has instead become, like so many other icons, a somewhat lazy monument to its own past, covering familiar ground with fewer and fewer new angles and an increased reliance on nostalgic fan service rather than new ideas.
I can't really find a lot to disagree with in that. I mean, I might have used a different tone, but I don't see how it can be argued that that's not the state of the franchise. I heard from a lot of people who expected me to be angry or against Jim on this one, but not really, no. The Mario series is what it is, a legacy franchise that occasionally puts out a major, groundbreaking new title like Mario Galaxy or New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but mostly exists to trade on and reinforce that very legacy.
Cycle of life, really. Sort of like how some bands go away, a very select few stay relevant basically forever, and others gradually transition to maybe putting out something new and worthwhile once in a blue moon, but mostly stay touring on a healthy backlog of greatest hits.
Looking at you, Aerosmith.
Ivan, shh! The longer they stay on tour, the more likely it is Steven Tyler won't do another TV show.
Sure, as a fan, I'd like it if every Mario game had continued to be on the cutting edge, but I'll take resting on laurels over the wallowing in shit route that some other series have chosen. I mean, I'm a fan, so if Nintendo wants to be mainly in the business of fan service, so long as it's still good, I can't really complain. The main thing I'd be seriously concerned with is the potential for oversaturation. It's nice to be getting these games so regularly, but if you start releasing them too regularly, you run the risk of diluting the brand. My bigger issue with this issue is that it too often becomes fodder for arguments about the internet's second favorite word it doesn't actually understand the meaning of. Overrated.
Whenever I hear that the Mario series, or any other game, or any other series for that matter, is overrated, and I include when I catch myself doing it, my first immediate question, even if only in my own head, is overrated by whom? And in what context? I mean, a rating is just an opinion to begin with, and games are rated on a lot of different levels by a lot of different people. I mean, let's face it, most of the time, overrated is just a word that's used to make someone's dissenting opinion sound more like an objective fact.
Also, even if there was some kind of objective scale for these things, again, there's more than one way to rate or rank something. I mean, if someone were to tell me that Super Mario 3D Land was the best game of the year, yeah, I'd say they are way overrating that game. But if someone were to say that the return of the Tanuki suit in Super Mario 3D Land was one of the best nostalgia goodies for Golden Age gamers in recent memory, well, that sounds pretty accurate to me. The point being, something can be good, and more importantly, can be intensely liked by someone, and still be problematic or not as good as it could have been, or whatever criticism you want to level at it. And I don't really understand where and why some folks make the leap from these games aren't really the best things out there anymore to these games aren't really the best thing out there anymore, and therefore it sucks and should die. That being said, I do think there's a defense to be made of the Mario series in its present state, and one that I don't see made a lot of the time. Is it really a consistent top dog of AAA development? Not exactly, no. But I would offer that's not the only or even primary role it's filling at this stage. Now, don't misunderstand me, Nintendo is absolutely guilty of over-milking the Mario cash machine.
And the Zelda cash machine. And the Pokemon cash machine. And the Kirby cash machine. And the Smash Brothers cash machine. And that thing where Mario and Dragon Quest play really elaborate Japanese Monopoly for some reason.
But I also think a lot of people ignore what Nintendo seems to see as the other primary purpose of its big-ticket franchises, namely to be used as a kind of testing lab for new ideas and techniques, with the near guarantee of big returns serving as a safety net for that experimentation. Specifically, the Mario series appearing to be where Nintendo designers try out things like gravity manipulation, 4-player co-op, glasses-free 3D level design, and so on, while Zelda seems to be the place for showing how all new visual styles play out as the skin for what is by now a reliable template.
So in that respect, I think the Mario series actually deserves credit credit for doing something with its place on the throne. But I also think the situation is far from ideal, and ultimately I do hold out hope that the series changes direction sooner or later.
Like I said, I'm an unapologetic Mario fan, and as a fan, I don't want to see Mario go the way of Mickey Mouse, who's still technically the mascot of Disney and ubiquitous as a worldwide institution, but has also been rendered a hollowed-out shell of nothing but a mascot. I mean, I don't think it's out of line to suggest that most people who know Mickey Mouse by sight at this point have never really seen the original cartoons he came from and couldn't even really describe his personality or character in any kind of specific terms. I mean, yeah, it's cool that he's still around, but I feel like Mickey maybe deserves better than that. And so does Mario. I don't want Mario to just be still here or just be good, I want him to still matter. And while I still like and will more than happily play more of these well-polished, retro-flavored fan games Nintendo keeps putting out, what I'd love is to see them take a real chance with the character in the franchise. I'm not necessarily talking reboot or radical reinvention, just a small semblance of a risk, a chance. Reskinning Doki Doki Panic, a completely different type of platformer for Mario 2, was a chance. Super Mario RPG was taking a chance. Yoshi's Island was taking a chance. Even Super Princess Peach or Luigi's Mansion were taking a chance. In my opinion, the Mario games could really stand to take a few more chances like that. Just off the top of my head, given that the series has been about mechanics over story for so long, maybe it's time to try experimenting with having a stronger narrative and character focus now. Nintendo has people that are good at this. Alpha Dream, a second-party subsidiary, consistently delivered some of the best Mario series character work in the Mario & Luigi RPG series on handhelds. Why not get some of their writers on the next big console release? I mean, it'd be different at least, it'd be a start.
So, that's where I am on Mario, yeah. Is it dated? Yup. Played out? In some respects. Treading water? You could say that. Bad? Absolutely not. Still worthwhile? Absolutely. Best days ahead of it? I think they really could be, yeah. And I still love it, yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean that when New Super Mario Bros. Wii U, or whatever they decide to call it, comes out, I'm going to immediately declare it to be the best game ever, because chances are it probably won't be. But that doesn't mean I'm going to start saying that the Mario games shouldn't come out anymore, or that anyone who doesn't pan them is just blinded by nostalgia, or that critics and reviewers somehow have to be extra hard on them to balance it out, or any of these other things that keep cropping up in the gaming culture. The Mario series could stand to be better. But until the series starts actively sucking, and I mean Sonic 2006/Shadow the Hedgehog level sucking, I'm still going to be happy to get them. Frankly, I can't imagine what video games would be without Mario, and I don't think I want to.
Huh, that was a good one. I hope we got more of these in case the boss doesn't come back from whatever the hell had him so spooked.
No! Yes! This is impossible! I killed you!
And I killed you, Chief. But here we are. No. No bullshit this time, Overthinker. This time, it's not just you and me. It's bigger. It's the whole damn thing. I'm taking this whole world. But first, I'm gonna take your show again. Yeah, that's right, Chief. I'm taking over. You're going back to Wario's Woods, and your audience is gonna get a whole new eyeful of the game anti-thinker. First things first, my long overdue opinion on Mass Effect 3. You see, as I see it... What? Dude, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but let me tell you something. That hair, fucking get... I suppose I should thank you. Where exactly did you come from? I come from the future. From a day where this day is remembered with great sadness, as the day that the game Overthinker died, killed by his most obnoxious foe,
leaving us defenseless against a threat which had yet to reveal itself. Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. I honestly thought you would find this a little harder to believe. It's been an interesting couple of months. Now, judging by your hair and outfit, I somehow deduce that the threat you speak of is android in nature. An android, yes. It will call itself the OverThinker. OverThinker. Yeah, okay. So what am I supposed to call you, future man? My name is Clogs. Clogs Shoes. In my time, they call me OverThinker.
Bye.